Gentlemen, the Casio ProTrek PRJ-B001 is on the wrist. And look, there's a bungee cord band. It's orange. The watch is blue. Really nice looking watch and surprisingly comfortable. Okay. I got a couple comments. David Lifts Heavy Circles says, how does it feel? Looks fantastic. And like I said, it feels great. It's really light. And this band is not uncomfortable at all. I was thinking it would get all bunched up and grab my hairs. It hasn't. Very light, and I have it. You can adjust it too. There's the buckle here. You can adjust the cloth side, so you can get it just how you want it, how tight you want it to be. And so I have it relatively loose, and it goes way out there. This is like turning out to be a good watch for a big wrister. And also, you could probably put it around your cankle. If you had a giant cankle or a giant calf even, I think you could get it around. So we're gonna do some size comparisons. The small wrist was asking about them. And I have to get everybody's schedule together at home. We have a lot of different wrist size at the house, but we have to get everybody together on one day. Probably be September 5th or September 6th. When everybody's schedule is free, and we'll try out this new Casio PRJ-B001 and a bunch of different wrist sizes. Maybe even some dog collars. Maybe we could put it around the neck of some dogs so the dogs can tell the time as they run around. Maybe even horses. I don't know. There's lots of horses in West Texas. Maybe we could find a horse to wear this watch. I don't know. Maybe, it's all about testing. User BX3DH1NG6F said, and that looks totally uncomfortable, especially if you have a lot of hair on your arms. The purpose of a wide band is to eliminate pressure points. I guess that if you took your wife's hair scrunchie and wrapped it around your wrist, Uganda, with marks in your arms, pretty much like wrapping a rubber band around your wrist. It's going to cut off blood flow now. Well, it may not be that tight. It just actually looks pretty... I can't read that last word. All right. My apologies to everybody actually listening to this on the podcast, because that, reading a comment verbatim is, could really confuse someone listening on the podcast. And why he mentioned Uganda, I have to sit here and wonder, what did he actually type that autocorrect decided to put Uganda? It's probably like you're gonna have marks. You're gonna get marks. Probably you're gonna get marks. And it was just changed to Uganda, because you might be wondering, why is someone mentioning Uganda? Well, no, user BX3DH1NG6F, listen up. This is actually comfortable. I mean, you'd be surprised with a bungee cord. And I think it's more comfortable than a scrunchie around the wrist. Back in the 90s, the chicks, they all wore scrunchies around their wrist. And they're fabric scrunchies. This is, I guess it would be more like a hair tie, right? It's just a bungee cord elastic, but it is comfortable. Okay. And for me, all right, I found it to be comfortable. Daryl Woodbury brings up a good point. He says, the strap is definitely unique. I just wish they called it something other than a ProTrek, because to me, ProTreks have the ABC triple sensor. Maybe they should call it ProTrek Junior or something like that. All right. So G-Shock has G-Shock and then baby G-Shock. And so Daryl Woodbury's saying, you know what? You have a watch. You call it a ProTrek, but it has no ABC sensors. Call it a ProTrek Junior. You guys agree? I mean, maybe not a ProTrek, maybe just Trek. This is a Trek watch, not a ProTrek watch, just Trek. And so the biggest surprise of this watch is the lume. The lume is outstanding, and most of my watches do not have good lume. I have a bunch of Casios. I have a cheaper Bertucci, and the lume on the analog hands is not that great. But on this ProTrek, the lume so far is outstanding. I charge it up every night with a Lenleser W1R. I've only had it for a couple nights, but before I go to bed, and the lume lasts until I wake up. And obviously by the morning time it's pretty dim, but every time I've rolled over and checked my watch while sleeping, the lume's been great. So I'm going to try and get more footage of that and try and put together some videos on the lume, because I've been surprised by the lume, and I really like it. I have just a few analog watches. I guess I have four 5 analog watches. The 2 Casios, the Luma's pathetic last minutes. The GA-B2100 is pretty decent, and the GA-2100 doesn't seem to be as good. Maybe it's the other way around. I can't remember. But either way, the GA series 2100s, their loom is, eh. And then the Bertucci, it's not that great, but it's not really expensive Bertucci. It was like the Bertucci A2S, right? And this loom on the ProTrek PRJ-B001. I keep on wanting to say PB and J. That's why in the unboxing video I called it the peanut butter and jelly, because there's a P there, there's a J there, and there's a B there, right? In its model name, right? And you could see that it's getting kind of dirty. Obviously, those listening on the podcast cannot see, but those watching can see. It got some grease on it, some of that high pressure grease. Doesn't wash off so easily. Philip Lahell says that loom is not bad at all. It's a good field watch, but in this case, you can go with the Casio series. I would prefer the G-Shock version of this design with a bungee strap on it. If the strap will be available, I will try to replace the resin band on my ProTrek PRW-6900Y. So this watch is similar to the 6900 of the ProTrek in its shape. There's the similarities, let's just say. And yeah, the band is, I think, is the selling point of this PRJ-B001. And so stay tuned for more info on this watch. And another watch that I made a short about has to do, and one other thing about the PRJ-B001, only this blue one with the bungee cord is available in the United States. When you go to the ProTrek website of Casio.com, the PRJ-B001B-2, that's the one with the bungee cord, all right? And this one's available in the United States, but there are 2 other PRJs that are not available, a black one and a beige one that looks like a Wang computer. And neither of those colors have the bungee cord, all right? Those are available in the international market. And so I featured this new chronograph watch by Casio Edifice, the EFB 730D. It's $150. You get a Casio Edifice chronograph. So it has 3 subdials for the chronograph features with sapphire glass. All right. Now, a lot of you guys are big into sapphire. Like when we talk about the Mudman, let me get it out. When we talk about the Mudman, the GW 9500, a lot of you guys are saying should have sapphire, right? I mean, I don't mind this being mineral glass, which is not as scratch resistant as sapphire, but it's cheaper, right? And a lot of you guys on just about every watch that I feature, you guys are like, should be sapphire. Should put sapphire on that watch. They're like, check out this GA-B2100 CT. And guys would be like, I wish it was sapphire. And I'll be like, hey, check out this Casio, this El Cheapo Casio. And guys will be like, it should be sapphire. I'm like, man, you want a $20 watch to be sapphire? I mean, with the G-Shock, it's like they put sapphire on it. It's like that G-Shock with sapphire is like $800, right? So sapphire is expensive. But somehow they managed to have a sapphire glass on this brand new Casio Edifice, the EFB 730D, for only $150. That's the retail price. And, it's always possible that someone somewhere on the internet may be selling this for less than $150. So and it comes in 3 colors. You have the black dial with the orange second hand. Then you have the silver dial. And it looks like the second hand on the silver dial is black. And then you have a blue dial with an orange second hand, and then the hands on the subdials are orange. So you have 3 to choose from. All right, sporty design, and it's 10 meters of water, or 100 meters of water resistance. And so, all you guys talking about you want sapphire, are you going to get this one, this Casio Edifice? because I think that, that's a pretty good price for sapphire. How thick is it, though? That's what I want to know. And so maybe we'll be able to get a look at it. I don't know. We'll see. I just wanted to let you guys know about that one. I don't think they'll be adding it to my collection. I got to keep the war chest stocked up for some watches that look like they're about to come out in the near future. Okay. And yesterday I made a short about Roger Cook, who is the landscape expert on the television show This Old House. All right. And he passed away, unfortunately. It's really sad, but when I watch This Old House, I keep an eye out for their watches. And this is like the reruns that go all the way back to the 80s and 90s, checking out what Bob Vila and Norm were wearing for watches back in the day. And I've noticed that Roger Cook at various points was a wearer of G-Shocks, right? There's some clips of him, some reruns with him sporting a G-Shock. And so I found one, and, I made a little remix, a YouTube short, and, was doing one of those rest in peace, Roger Cook. Anyways, guys, the GD010 is coming out soon, and I checked my email box, waiting for that email from G-Shock to be like, order now. You got black, green, and red. The red one has a negative display. This negative display does not look really bad, all right? And so, Lord willing, I'll pick one up and we'll take a look at it on the channel. All right, gentlemen, remember, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him. I'm Jim Kinkade. Thanks for watching.